Katapu, assalamu alaikum, namaste, haru nefer. This is Qesankh Keparu with another video for you. And in this video, we're going to talk about where is the real Stargate. But before I do that, I want you to hit the like button on this video. If this is your first time to my channel, welcome. Hit the subscribe button to get notifications on when I go live and when I upload recorded videos. Also, if you're interested in knowing more about my spiritual teachings, you can get free ebooks. Just scroll down below to the links, tap on the links, and you can download the ebooks and start reading today. If you want to follow that rabbit down the rabbit hole and learn more, become a Patreon supporter. You can do so for as little as $1, $5, or $20 per month. Is up to you. You can cancel at any time. There's no obligation. You'll get instructional videos on how to meditate, how to summon the ancestors, how to summon spirits for your protection, how to do self-hypnosis to curb your overeating, curb your drinking, smoking addiction, and you'll learn divination, how to use the oracles, and so much more. So become a Patreon supporter today. Last but not least, let's change the energy vibration of the planet by sharing this video with family and friends and get the revolution started. So Haru Nefer, quick video for you. There's something I want to tell you. This is a very important message, and it comes directly out of my meditations. Okay, so let me just clear my throat really quick, get some water here. I want you to understand that in order for the ruling elite to take control of the planet, they had to basically shift your identification. And that identification went from the identification with the true self of who you are, which is consciousness, God, Nebe, Cher, or Netelu, to one of human physical body. You see, we're dealing with people who think concrete. They don't think in terms of metaphysical principles, and they have adapted the world to think alike. So the entire planet has been shifted from integrated brain thinking, whole brain thinking, to left brain thinking, which is only concrete, which is sensory processing, processing only what they can see, hear, feel, taste, what have you. So anything dealing with the metaphysical is poo-pooed, it's shunned, and the major academic community doesn't want to even discuss it or get into it. This is why you have in psychology, they talk about how your subconscious mind, your beliefs directly affect your physical actions, but they won't talk about how it can affect your 4D experience, the physical world around you, even though there's another branch of science called quantum mechanics, which tells us reality doesn't exist apart from the observer. So where am I going with all of this? Well, I want to tell you something. When they took control of the planet, that was their mission objective. The prime directive right away was to shift your identification from God's self consciousness to human being, sinner, and they had to establish religious institutions that would periodically reinforce this on Sunday, the sun's day, son of God, or the sun Ra. So this is reinforced through these institutions to keep you trapped in the five sense experience, to keep you trapped in concrete thinking. Now, a movie came out back in 1994 called Stargate. Very profound film, very interesting film in terms of what it was trying to say. And then it starred Kurt Russell as a military part of a special ops group they found this gate with the hieroglyphic symbols that could take them across the universe to a different planet where they met these Egyptians and things of that nature. Well, the one thing they weren't telling you about that movie, which branched off into a TV series, was that there is a real Stargate. Now, you will see when you read online, and you may read blogs, articles, what have you, about the super collider and all of these experiments they're trying to do to create a Stargate. That is a disinformation. I want you to understand that is disinformation. You see, back in antiquity with our ancestors, the ancient Kemetic people, the Kamau, they already created Stargates. Now, you'll have some Egyptologists or historians will go in there and they'll look for a Stargate and they'll say, oh, look at these pillars, out of limestone. This is a Stargate. That's not true. I want you to understand something that's very, very important. You, who you are, doja, spiritual elevation, whatever you call yourself, you are more important than you freaking realize. You are more important than you freaking realize. You are so important that that I'm not going to even say their names, that the secret government agencies lock away information. The Vatican locks away information about who you are, but the ancient Kemetic ancestors, our ancestors, left the information on the limestones, the walls in the temples called the Metuneta, the hieroglyphics. You are more important than you realize. You see, in the movie The Stargate, which is one of the films I liked the film. I enjoyed it. I thought it didn't reach its full potential. I didn't like the series on the Sci-Fi Channel, but it was trying to get to you the idea that there is a way to teleport yourself across the universe. So when we talk about the super collider or whatever you want to call it, that's disinformation. When we talk about the Egyptologists and historians going to Egypt looking for the actual Stargate, that's disinformation. Let me explain this to you. On the temple walls in Kemet, Egypt, it says, "Know thyself." Also, one of the Hermetic laws is as above, so below. You must understand who you are. And one of the books that clarified who I was Liber Null and Psychonaut. This was a powerful book that blew my mind. It blew my mind in such a way that I read it a couple of times, and I was in New York City reading on the subway, and I felt somebody do this. And it was turned around. It was this gentleman who was a Jewish Kabbalist. And he was like, "Great book. I'm going to recommend another book for you." And he did. And this book talks about being a psychonaut. If you don't know what a psychonaut is, well, you should do your research on it, because this leads into the Stargate. You see, let me explain this to you, my beloved. Hetepu Harmony, let me explain this to you. And I am not kidding. This is the big secret that they're keeping away from you. You are the Stargate. Let me say it again. You are the Stargate. You are an actual living, breathing Stargate. You see, one of the things our ancient ancestors, the ancient Kamau, discovered was that you have two realms. You have the right brain, left brain, but you have the conscious waking state and the subconscious state. And that when you access the subconscious state, it is a bridge, a gateway to different dimensions and different locations within the physical universe itself. Different locations within the physical universe itself. You see, when we see things like Star Trek, where they have warp drive, that's not realistic, that's wrong, because it's based on left brain theory of linear space time, and it's ridiculous to go from point A to point Z, where you can bend space and time. And it gets complicated because you have to create enough mass to do that, or gravity to do that. But you can bend it. But what we're looking to do, you see, modern science is theorizing, well, maybe there are wormholes that when we go on one side, it'll take us out the other side of the universe. That's still thinking left brain. You see, the left brain can only think in terms of concrete. So they keep thinking in terms of sending spacecrafts out there, manned spacecraft to Mars, to wherever, but they know the secret. See, that's disinformation they're putting out to you. See, when NASA launches probes to Mars, they take pictures of the deserts, those are phony. That's just disinformation. They already know they discovered life, but they're not gonna, like, every planet they show you photos of planets. They never have water, never have vegetation. That's really ironic, because like you've got Saturn, you got Jupiter, which has at least 50 moons, and you're telling me of those 50 moons, there's no liquid water? That's 100 moons between, at least 100 moons between the two of them. Plus the other planets, there's no liquid water. And now they're revealing, because they're going to put out the information slowly, that Mars has liquid water. But anyway, I digress. I want you to understand this. Our ancient ancestors, the Kamau, discovered that Nectar, God made you a Stargate. You see, what our ancestors did was they took herbs, the lotus, the DMT, the ayahuasca, and they found out when they took these herbs put them into a deep, deep state of unconsciousness, tapping into the subconscious mind and putting them into 5D. What is 5D? The absence of time and space. See, when you're in 5D, and you go deep enough, you go to what we call as the singularity, where all things collide and exist at once. You're in touch with all things. Every point in space and time converges on this single point, singularity. You read, in that state, you can read everybody's thoughts, different beings' thoughts. You're connected from here to Alpha Centauri, and there's no space. So the minute you think of something, you're there. There's no time. There's no time delay. It doesn't take you, I think, from here to what is it, Jupiter, 6 months or something to that of that effect. There's no time. If I think I'm in Jupiter, I'm in Jupiter right now. You are a Stargate because you have the ability to travel interdimensionally. And I've always said you're an interdimensional being, but you have the ability to travel to any place in the universe. You see, consciousness, which you are, has the principle of non-locality. It doesn't exist in any fixed point in space and time. It exists in all points simultaneously. Do you understand? This is the nature of your being. And because you exist in 4D, three-dimensional space, one of time, you're giving a processing way to connect to 4D, which is called the left brain conscious mind, so you can experience 4D. You're also given the ability to experience 5D, the subconscious mind. Ooh. Do you understand the implications of that? You see, you're given eyes to see, but you can't see in certain wavelengths because you don't need to. But that doesn't mean that those wavelengths don't exist. They are there, but you don't need to see in those wavelengths because we were, we grew up in Pangea. We evolved in Pangea or through adaptation, the supercontinent, and we needed to see predators. So our eyes adapted to motion. Anything that moves, our eyes catch it. We didn't need to see with predator vision in different wavelengths because there was nothing that would in those different wavelengths that would attack us. But rest assured, those different wavelengths exist. And within those wavelengths are beings that exist who cannot exist in this space-time continuum, and we cannot go to their space-time continuum without certain conditions being met. But I want you to know that the ancestors tapped into this. When they started to work with the various herbs, they created what they call as the priesthood. And the priesthood got together and said, hey, you know what? There's these other dimensions. There's a universe out there that we can travel through astral projection. If we take these herbs, it will put the left brain to sleep, awaken the right brain to connect us to our Stargate within, to go within, to travel to wherever we want, to speak to these different beings, to be Kurt Russell in the movie Stargate. You are a psychonaut. You are a traveler, and you connect to these various realms through your right hemisphere of your brain, the subconscious mind. You see, do you not see the setup? It all makes sense. It's all one big setup to where you have your major religious institutions, your major learning institutions, and they all say the same thing. We don't know what the right brain really does. We don't know what the subconscious mind, how powerful it is. We don't know if there is nirvana. We don't know what happens after death. They're liars. They know. The Vatican knows because the Vatican has the scrolls. The Vatican has the scrolls that the ancestors left behind, which tells them that the right brain is the Stargate. But they will never reveal this information to you because if they start telling you about 5D, then it gets into a more scary subject for them. Hold on. It gets deeper. This is not just about meeting interdimensional beings and traveling from here to Alpha Centauri. Because when you access the 5D and you become a psychonaut, guess what happens? Something more profound. They have found through experimentation that when you take these herbs, the ego, the id, the ego, the superego, as Sigmund Freud said, the id, the ego, the superego, dissolves away. What is the ego? It is like, I guess, the persona. It is what it is, the superimposition of the things that you've experienced through cultivation, through social engineering or programming to combine together to a composite that creates you, that makes you who you are, your ego. And they have found that when you access that right brain through these herbs, these medicines, it dissolves the ego. The ego dissipates. What happens? Two things happen. You ready? Blow your mind. First thing is, because there's different levels to this, it's not all just one thing, there's different levels. First thing is you connect with the super consciousness. You connect with all beings, all people. And then you feel a profound sense of oneness. You connect with all things, and there's no body. You feel no physical body. You feel connected to all things everywhere, and you feel a profound sense of love. Hence, this kills evil. This kills selfishness, because you are all. You're everything. The ruling elite cannot control and manipulate you if you feel a sense of oneness with all things and love. Now, here's the next level and the most profound level. After you have done that, what happens? You connect with Source, with God, with Netta, Yahweh, Allah. You connect directly with Source energy. And you feel the warmth and you feel the love of a God that loves you no matter what. Do you understand that that is the meaning of everything that our ancestors were trying to do in antiquity? This is everything that they tried to do. This was their purpose in life, was to connect you to the Stargate. Everything that they did, they built, from the pyramids to the temple, was in veneration of the God within you, consciousness within you, the ability to go within, to experience love, to experience the super consciousness, the collective consciousness, I should say, collective consciousness, the oneness of all things. You see, the ruling elite wins because they have set up and constructed the world of ignorance and damnation, to where they say, well, we don't know if meditation is good for you. We don't know what the right brain is for. We don't know what happens after death. So we're not going to explore those things, and we'd like to keep you away from that, because that gets into the realm of the esoteric and the supernatural, and we of the esteemed community of academic scientists cannot endorse such a thing. Please take our pharmaceutical drugs. Do you have realized the coup d'etat, the coup that they have done? That storming Washington that happened with MAGA or Trump's people is nothing in compared to what the ruling elite has done to destroy the planet, my beloved, to destroy the planet. But thank God that we have some people in Hollywood, some people out there, our story writers, who are trying to give you the truth through the medium of film and television and novels, trying to expose the truth of the Stargate, to expose the truth of who you truly are and what you have access to, the power you have access to. They are trying to pull a magician's trick, sleight of hand. You know, look at this, but don't look here. Don't look here, because this is where I'm really screwing you right here. Voila. Meanwhile, this hand is sneaking into your pocket, taking your money. This is Jesus. You know, keep looking at Jesus. Don't look here. Don't look here. This is meditation. This is Tahuti. Don't look here. Look at Jesus here. Jesus is your savior. Jesus is the only thing that will save you. Not 5D, not meditation, not studying your ancestors, not studying your culture. Do you see what they have done? And I'm not putting down Jesus. I'm not putting down that, because that does serve somewhat of a purpose. But what I'm trying to tell you is that this is all concocted to deceive you. You're living in a world which is a false reality. It is done to manipulate, scheme, and dethrone you from your rightful place as rulers of this planet. See, the evil has taken control of the planet, and they're sitting on the throne when you should be sitting on the throne. You're not human. You're not man. You're not woman. You're not black. You're not white. You're not Democrat. You're not Republican. You are consciousness. You transcend all of that. You have always been and always will be. You are infinity. You cannot be destroyed. The physical body may transition, but who you are, consciousness, which is your true state, that's who you really are, your original state, will just move on to another planet, another life. You see, when I meditate and I astro travel to different dimensions, I go to these worlds where I exist as a different being and I'm living out a different life. And you will feel it is so freaking real. And the reason why it feels so real, because it is real. It is real. But you have been fooled to think that this reality is the only reality and there's nothing else besides this reality. That's a lie. But of course, modern science is catching up with this, and they're realizing they're now admitting there are 12 dimensions. There's more than 12 dimensions, but they just want to admit to only 12. They're admitting that our ancient ancestors were smarter than they realized. They're only now realizing it and saying, well, we think they may not have been as primitive as we thought. Really? Duh. What gave that away? The pyramids? You know, you see, when they went to ancient Egypt, they couldn't find any books of religion. That's because we kept all that knowledge in the psychic realm, protected through psychic gates that you couldn't get into unless you knew the correct mantras to open those gates up and access that information. You see, the reason why they have to hide this information to mislead you and deceive you is because you're so powerful and you don't know it. You literally have the power to manipulate reality, to manipulate time and space. And if that secret ever got out to the masses, the ruling elite knows that their days would be numbered. While I'm talking about this, let's take a break. I want to let you know that I am drinking my water here, which is Waters of None. And if you get an opportunity, please go to my website, watersofnone.com. And we have all kinds of waters. It's great if you need confidence, if you need wealth, if you need attraction, trying to attract the opposite sex. If you need success, we have a water for that. Just go to the website and you'll see people who have purchased the water swear by it now, and it is great. And the water is basically programmed through crystals, mantras, to retain memory, because water has memory. And these waters are programmed for a specific purpose. And when you drink them, since your body is 85% water, it mixes with the water in your body and it creates a profound effect. And I also have custom waters. So if you want a type of water to deal with any issue in your life, I could create the water for you, program the water. Let's say if you're having trouble with your mate, if you want to get a promotion at work, I can actually program the water and for that specific purpose, for your specific purpose, and send that to you. So go and order that, watersofnone.com. Thank you. And also, if you get an opportunity, please donate to the channel. The link is in the chat box there. So I want you to understand that the Stargate, the ability to teleport, to travel through this dimension, to across the universe, to far reaches of the universe, is contained within you. You don't need a rocket ship. You don't need a transporter. You don't need none of these things. Our ancestors already proved this and validated this. It's on the temple walls of what they did, how they did it. It's no secret. The priesthood experiment with this from the very early on, from the dawn of time. And the reason why they did this, and the reason why most right brain cultures or cultures of color did this, because most cultures of colors are right brain. So we were the first ones to experiment with astral projection and go into the farthest reaches of the universe. So anyway, I want to thank you for tuning into this very special message. I hope that you took away something from this. I'm going to recommend the book Libra Null and Psychonaut. And another good book that you want to get is Genesis of the Cosmos. This is a really good book. It's very dense. It may take some time to get through. It's a lot of scientific literature in here and stuff about our ancestors documenting how the universe and all things came into being. It's a great book. Get that book. All right. This is Qesankh Ma Keperu, son of Ma and Tahuti. Ma is the beautiful goddess Heteru. Until my next video, Amen Ra.